Hello everyone, I'm Codex, and today we're making an abandoned junkyard diorama for Rebel Base Build's Fallout-themed Maker Challenge. Look at me, barely making the deadline, then taking a couple more months to edit the video, to nobody's surprise. Anyway, my choice in build was inspired by these cars I came across at the hardware store. I got about a dozen of them on a good sale, and they're O-scale, which is my preferred size. This one is a 1950 Plymouth Fury, which is pretty close to the Highwayman from Fallout 2. However, they're way too clean and shiny. I stippled on orange rust all over the cars with a sponge. I should have put them on a painting handle, since they got painted all over and there was nowhere to hold. The second car is a 57 Dodge truck, in keeping with the Fallout era vehicles. My first pass of orange for the rust didn't show up very well against the reds and blues, so it looked off with how well it did show up against the white. So I did a second pass with dark umber. I brushed a watered down bit into all the recesses where water would pool and make the rust worse. Then I hit it with the orange again, which showed up much better against the umber and gave a much better color gradient. I might have overdone it a bit this time, but they do look good. To bring back a little bit of color, I sprinkled up brown leaves to represent leaves in the bed of the truck and various nooks and crannies. A bit of yellow, orange, red, and green paint on choice leaves gave a nice little pop, and I forgot to record that part. Finally, I tied it all together with a wash of Agrax Earthshade. So, with the main subjects of the piece done, they can be set aside now to start on the diorama itself. I could not for the life of me find where I put my MDF or any good foam, so I went with this scrap I found. It seems thematic to use trash anyway. I haven't worked with foam too much yet, so my carving was crude, but I managed and will cover it up later anyway. It certainly made a mess. I want this to be a bit of a rocky sluice area, so I got a cork coaster and broke it up for a couple short cliff faces. After dry fitting, a bit of tacky glue held it all together. And here's the part where I cover up my crude carving. Modeling paste is another thing I haven't used much yet, so I started with my hands. I should have wet them, it was sticky, so I switched to an acid brush, and it worked okay. I eventually got the ground to the shape I wanted. I have a Tamiya accessory kit with some gas cans and barrels, so a few barrels got pressed into the still wet paste at the base of a cliff. Originally, I was thinking about a chain link fence cutting through the diorama, but then decided to push it back to the edge to serve more as a backdrop. So I pushed in some bits of sprue for the posts and filled in the first holes I made. One thing I want to keep to is modularity in my builds and playability for games, so I put some magnets for trees and such and covered over them, a little too well. I'm glad I have this video because I otherwise would not be able to remember where they are now. This is a junkyard, so it needs more junk. A few plastic washers make a nice stack of tires. There's a bit of a toy car, and one of the aforementioned gas cans gets pressed in as well to get us started. While the paste is still wet, I add a bit of gravel to outline where I want a bit of road, a sign, and one of the cars. The fence posts are a bit too loose, so I superglue them in place before adding some cut-up cross-stitch mesh for the chain link. The truck will go into the gully as if it had crashed through the fence at some point. I glue down all the trash and a few more tires. Some other trash shown here. Signs from a cheap train set. Part of that P-38 I still haven't painted. A couple random car parts. and a googly eye I painted silver for a hubcap. Once that was dry enough to handle, I got out some styrene. It's what I had handy, and traced it and cut it for the sides. I get why everyone uses wood veneer, it's a much easier to cut. I didn't have any right now. After that was glued on, I used the model paste to smooth the edges. Look, I remembered I have some sculpting tools. I wish I had remembered that when I started. Oh well. Out comes the watered down PVA and my big tub of Skywalker repellent. I apologize for the horrible framing here. After another impatient wait for glue to dry, I primed the whole thing dark brown. My initial color plans didn't work that well, but I was thinking yellowish tan rocks, and I'm not really sure what I was thinking with the blue. But in the end, you can always repaint and cover up things that don't work.
Broken bones, broken heart, where can I
While that dried,
begin?
I painted the various metallics and then moved to painting the trash.
A little lonely, much afraid. Where am I befriended? Body's tired,
I dry brushed various shades of
everything.
brown on the ground. I
Where
then
can
decided the
I
rock should be more gray than
lay
tan.
myself down? Eyes are red, buzzing head. Someone stop this sound. Here I learn to breathe.
While waiting for the glues and paints to dry, I did work on the accessories. That train set I mentioned earlier came with cheap plastic track. I cut the ends off and used those connectors for the Junkyard sign. They're mounted on part of an IKEA wrench handle, which is, in turn, mounted on a model rail concrete pillar. A bit of paint, and we have our sign. This utility pole was from that same train set. I weighted it with a washer and used the model paste to give it a bit of wood texture before giving it a nice paint job. Finally, I got a cheap bag of trees. They aren't the greatest, you get what you pay for, but I weighted them too, then glued them together. The three I'm using for this build got bright green and yellow highlights from above, then the dirt and trunks blocked with leaves and painted. Even simple, cheap things can look great with a bit of modification. With the trees done, it's back to the diorama for grass. I don't have a static grass applicator, so I just brushed on watered down glue and sprinkled on the grass by hand. It still looked pretty good. This is honestly the part that made me feel good about the build. After the grass was planted, I added block foliage that fell off the cheap trees for bushes, some taller grass, and a few flowers for a bit more color. Then I gave everything a bit of a wash and painted the sides black, and it's time to bring it all together. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Rebel Base Builds for this challenge prompt that drove me to actually complete something again. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Until then, have a nice day.